everyone, it's Roger and James here from the What's on Disney Plus podcast. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking all about kind of like a 3-month review for James and a 6-month review for me on sort of where Disney Plus is, what it's where it's improved, what things they possibly could change, and kind of just be talking about it now we're months down the line of using it and all the rest of it. But before we go into all of that, just a quick bit of housekeeping. First off, if you haven't already done so, make sure you do subscribe either on the YouTube channel or on the podcast different services such as Apple, Google, Stitcher, and also Spotify. And a big thank you to our patrons, including Andrew, Giuseppe, Julie, and What's on Netflix for their support in making sure that the podcast continues to happen. And you can support us from as little as $1 a month. And if you do that at the $5 or above tier, then you also get a little shout out and also a little note in every single video that we put out. So let's jump into it, because we're thinking of it now, we know we're like the beginning of March, and I've been using Disney Plus since like pretty much mid-September when it started the trial back in the Netherlands. So I've been using it pretty much now about nearly 6 months. And obviously in the US, it came out November. So we're literally coming up on just gone past the 3 months period. And just kind of wanted to sort of have a bit of a discussion really about how you think the app has changed and how you've been using it, and just a general of like a discussion about this kind of thing of, so how have you been like feeling now for like 3 months on we're using Disney Plus? Are you using it more or less? What do you think, etc.?
So for personal use outside of things that we have to watch, or have to in quotes watch for the show, the app itself, so I'm talking about like the phone in this case, I mostly just use to browse the back catalog, kind of see what's out there. Maybe Friday morning when I wake up and roll over, to kind of okay, that's on there. I mean, to be fair, most of the time I already know what's coming. It's not that big a surprise, but you never know what's going to kind of pop up on the feed. And then other than that, I watch it on mostly on my television with my Xbox, and it hasn't changed at all. No. I mostly, when I'm on the Xbox, I go directly to my watch list and I pull something from there. So my method is look for stuff on the phone, watch it on the Xbox.
Yeah, because I think that's going to be the thing going forward, really, of like using it and so on. Because for me, I've had 6 months of having to use my iPhone and iPad because my Xbox and PlayStation stuff can't be connected to it at the minute. So I'm still having to use it very much kind of like use my phone, plug it into a cable, and then watch it through that. And not ideal, doesn't work all the time. I'll be honest, there's been a number of occasions of when we've been watching, like when we do like our retro reviews and we'll do like something ode, I will actually even just fire up the Disney Life app because it's just easy to run through my Fire Stick to watch those kind of things on the TV. And for me, there's been a lot of improvements in the little back ends of how they're working in terms of adding in the skip intro option, moving on to the next episode, bring up a little screen at the bottom to bring up the next. Like the other day, I kind of completely caught up on Diary of a Future President, and I just kept rolling into the next episode to the next episode. And there was a time when that wasn't happening. So they are improving things slowly. They're doing bits and pieces. Like recently, when you go into like the A to Z option, all the movies that aren't on Disney Plus but were coming soon have been removed. You can still find them through the search, but I think they listen to the feedback of people getting really annoyed of going into the A to Z and finding like Maleficent and then not being able to watch it because they found it. Whereas if they type in Maleficent, it would at least come up and say it's not available, it's coming soon. And I think they are doing stuff in the background. There's still a lot of stuff to be done. Don't seem to be having as many people contact me about issues. Still get multiple emails a day of, especially, I think one of the key problems is the inability for them to kick people out. But again, they've been working on that. I mean, I literally logged into Disney Life the other day and got an email straight away asking me if that was me logging in. It's like they've never had that before, and they're slowly launching this into all the different platforms and stuff. So they are working on stuff. Lots of little changes, but nothing massive.
Yeah, and I've noticed that on my end too. There's not a lot of big things, and it's kind of the big things that you notice, so it doesn't feel like things are changing. And also we're now several months in, so you kind of forget, oh yeah, skip intro wasn't there, or continue on to the next episode wasn't there in the beginning. So it's hard to remember some of that. It's much easier to point out, when I finish watching a movie, I would like to be taken back to the main screen, so I can pick something else out if I want to. Right now, it's kind of an annoying process of, well, would you like to watch this other thing? And they give you one choice, or you can look at the options for it. Yeah, so it's mostly, the big things that you notice, and you don't really notice the small things. And when they do roll them out, you just kind of forget that they weren't there at some point. Like I forgot that there was no skip intro when the service first launched, and the play the next episode kind of popped in a little bit after there. So there's a lot of back end stuff, but the big one, or a big one, I should say right now, for me is once you're done with a movie, or say the final episode of a show, trying to find something directly after that can be difficult, because they give you one option. And they're like, well, you liked The Mandalorian, so here's Empire Strikes Back. I'm like, okay, well, it's a good option, but I've seen it a million times. I don't need to see it. And if I want to go back to the main screen, I have to kind of either hit the back button or click on the details and then go to the home button. And they really should make it easier to get back, or give more options than just the one. Because I'm like, yeah, Empire Strikes Back, it's a great movie, but it's not what I want to watch right now.
No, I think they're kind of, I think the trouble as well, like Netflix have got a much more sophisticated system of how they like work out what people watch and all the rest of it, and Disney have nowhere near what they're doing for that one.
Well, and to be fair, Netflix has years and years and years of viewing data from all across the world to shove into a machine learning algorithm and figure these things out. Disney is only just, I mean, they've had Disney Life, they've had other apps, but they're really starting to build a database now. Yeah,
I think there's that kind of line of like, I give, because quite often I think Disney gets a little bit of a pass. If everyone goes, it's only been around for 2-3 months, and therefore it's new. And it's like, yeah, but BAMTech are like, they've been around for ages, and they've had multiple platforms and multiple apps, and they've been working on stuff for years. It's not like this is the first project they've worked on. So I kind of, in some ways, it's like, I don't quite give them quite as much free pass of just going, well, it's all brand new. It's like, well, yeah, but it's like they have been around a while. But but there is that thing. The data is different,
right? And it depends on how they're collating and extrapolating the data, because if they are using machine learning, which is like the new hotness in data analytics, the what?
The algorithm,
the new algorithm. It's what all the big companies want right now, because it starts off so slowly, because the machine learning needs to have a data set to learn from, and they don't have it yet. But as time goes on, it should, in theory, get better. And of course, I'm assuming that they're using machine learning. They could be using a much older system, in which case, they don't really have an excuse for it.
No, it's like, I think as well of like, when you look at like Netflix and YouTube and how they are just constantly tweaking it to kind of make sure they keep you locked in and to keep you going. I don't think generally with Disney Plus they're anywhere near that level. They kind of like, no, we don't, here's a selection, choose what you want kind of thing. And they're not really about trying to keep you locked in. I think the thing is right now is you've got so many different people using Disney Plus. You've got kids that just watch it religiously, show after show after show after show. You got families maybe doing like family movie night. Oh, we're going to watch this movie. Then you got like the adults that are only tuning in for certain series, and then they're going to dip in, dip out. And then there's a load of adults looking on, they're going, there's nothing on here, I'm out, I'll see you in August. And I do think that there's that line of like how like Netflix and stuff where you see these different accounts of like going, right, they change the icons between the accounts, and Disney Plus have been doing that a bit, where I do notice every now and again the icons change for the movies to kind of make it look like there's something different, or they've got like multiple movies like thumbnails in there to kind of make it look something different. But I know like we do it all the time with Netflix, where we'll go on my wife's account and then we will sometimes go, oh, I can't find anything to watch, and we will flip to my account because suddenly then the entire front screen offers an entirely different selection of movies and TV series based on, I would say, what I'm watching, but generally, yeah, it's watching what we're doing. The trouble is our kind of profiles are kind of interconnected, and we can't quite remember where we are, but sometimes there's that thing of like our profiles can be completely different. And I find with Disney Plus is it's like, no, there's the front screen is still very much dominated by the same things that they're putting on that front.
Yeah, and it doesn't, it's not personalized. It's not you have your front screen, I have my front screen, and the fact that I've been watching Gravity Falls changes my recommendations. No, it doesn't. I think if we looked at them, they'd be pretty close. The only real difference is you're in a different region.
Yeah.
If you're on your Netherlands account, it's going to show you different things because there's different things available. But if you're using your US account, it's probably like 99.9% the same.
The trouble is as well, especially at the minute, because it's only ever really showing me stuff. Because I've been watching, it's like if it was showing me what was recommended, it's like between me just watching Disney Fairy Tale Weddings and Diary of a Future President, the entire system would be mixed up on Netflix.
That's true.
like no, actually, I want to watch something else, but give me. But
no, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, Longer. I think just as a whole, I think that's one thing that I think they do need to work on. And also, there's this thing I've been saying: add a just added or a recently added option within that tab, or do something. Because now, at least, when you click onto these, like the search option, it will show you generally the newest movies that have been added, but it's a common complaint of just put it in there, just like what's new, what's been added, so people can find it straight away.
Yeah, absolutely needs that. It's good for hype. It's good for reminding people that stuff is coming out. Now, you might not be interested in watching the Timmy Failure movie. You might be super interested in watching the Timmy Failure movie, but simply knowing that it has been released with a, more than just a banner, but like in a section, would make such a huge difference.
Well, I just feel and it's been that constant thing of when I jump into the Amazon app, the Netflix app, the Now TV app, the BBC app, the first thing I do in every single app is recently added or the latest video. It's the first thing we do in every single app. Of when it's like the new on Fridays, when you go in there to find the latest episode, you have to go in. It's like it should be the first thing when you click on that option on a Friday of like all of these things are new today, and they're there.
And I think a extension of that, if you've got a TV show in your watch list, let's say Diary of a Future President, and a new episode comes out, it should move to the front of your watch list so that you know. But it stays in position. So if you've gone in and you've added Diary of a Future President to your watch list, but then you've gone in and you're like, I want to watch The Love Bug and Three Caballeros and John Carter. So he added all those to the watch list. The diary is still down at the bottom of the list, and you may or may not know that there's stuff still coming out on it. And yeah, so there's a problem with the watch list that kind of comes out of this, which is it doesn't update when shows get new episodes. So say, you've got The Mandalorian and new episodes are coming out on it still, hypothetically. You put it at the front of your watch list. This is the first thing that you add, but now you've added a whole bunch of back catalog items that you wanted to watch, all the old animated movies, maybe some documentaries. A new episode of The Mandalorian comes out, it should go to the front of the list so that it's there. But no, it's actually still at the bottom of the list. And if you don't know new episodes are coming out, you won't know to click on it and check it out.
I mean, at least they do put the banner at the front, and they kind of put like episode 5 available now. So they are updating the banner and using that as a good way. So I think that's definitely an improvement of how they're doing it. I think generally, and that's one of the things that's really noticeable now. Now we're like 3 months into how they're doing the releases and stuff. We had like the 1st of December, and the 1st of December we had, here are 15 new things for the library, and then we had a few things dropping in and out here and there, and then February, and then January hit, and then it was like, well, here's half the stuff on the 1st of the month, and here's another chunk on the middle of the month, and here's a few little things at the end of the month. And then February's been like every Friday, every week. There's been a few things that like a little bit more stretched out, not quite so like doing a massive, like basically a dump full of stuff all at the same time. And I generally, as much, I think the February version was a bit better of like drip feeding out, like, you know, like, oh, this Friday you've got this movie, and then this Friday you've got these 2 movies, and then this Friday you've got these 3 movies, of drip feeding them out rather than on the first of the month, because we've really been like learning to see what works, and they've probably been doing the same thing. And it also makes it look like they're adding more. But
right,
you know, I mean, I remember like the first of the month of December going like, okay, you just put on there like 15 new seasons and a load of stuff. Maybe drip feeding these out day to day or week by week would be a lot better. And they seem to have slid into that very quickly. I think they've realized that was maybe the better way to go, because it looked like there was going a month without an update didn't look very good.
Yeah, and it's not just the back catalog items. They were better about spacing out the new content as well, because we had, you know, the Fairy Tale Weddings show up one week, and then the next week was Clone Wars. And it helps to have that spacing, because, you know, they had to launch with a whole bunch of items at once.
Yeah.
That's the point of a launch. But now we're past launch, and having not everything start at the same time helps, you know, you maintain focus. And then also, you know, when it launched, we were watching like 6 or 7 episodes a week, normally in a day, within a 24-hour period, because that's how long we had to watch them and then record. And very quickly we're like, you know what? I don't have time for this one, because that's not one that I'm enjoying. You know, like Jeff Goldblum. It kind of fell off.
Still never finished it.
Same. But if it had come out not in the middle of a whole bunch of other stuff that was higher priority for me, I'd probably have at least finished it off, because it's new content, or it was.
Yeah, I do think that. I think like February's been a really good month, and like every week there was like a new original starting, and then we had Timmy Ferrier, then we had the Fairy Tale Weddings, then we had Star Wars, Clone Wars, and then we had Shop Class. So each week there was something new coming in, and obviously as well, they weren't all finishing on the same week, because I know in January it was like one week it was like 3 different shows all ended, and it like. He said like, oh, okay, because it's going to be the same thing. What's going to happen probably at the end of March, beginning of April, all these shows are starting to come to an end, and then we're going to start getting things like Be Our Chef coming in at the end of March. And, you know, these things are all coming to an end, and we need a bit more of a flow of them kind of stepping over each other, rather than here is 5 new series all starting on the same day. Again, this is all like the growing pains, but I think like the February rollout of content has been much smoother than maybe, because January was a bit of an odd one, because January was like we're closing up all the old shows. I mean, obviously we're going to have like Marvel Hero Project is going to be closing up mid-March and stuff, and that'll be like the last like the launch run. And yeah, I do think it's running a little bit better, but everything's running on different episodes, different seasons and stuff, which I think is better. And I think the way they've done February was a really good month of just having a different thing starting each week. So when people were going, oh, there's nothing new on this, well, actually they've given each one room to grow on its own.
Yeah, and then you also add on to it, not only was February a good month for launches, but it was a good month for news on launches.
Yeah.
Because we started to learn about, okay, Winter Soldier's coming out at this time. WandaVision's coming out at this time. Mandalorian Season 2 is on the way, and things like that. So there's the stuff that imminently arrive or has arrived at this point, but also, hey, you know, we haven't forgotten. You want that top tier specific Marvel, Star Wars kind of content. It's coming. Don't worry. We've got you. And
still think there's I was going to say that they still need to work. The one thing I still think they need to really work on is their communication, because recently, for example, Zombies 2 was debuted on the Disney Channel. Has been communication of the whole thing with these like shows and stuff of when they're coming onto the Disney Channel stuff. They really need to sort this out, because treating them separately doesn't work with television. It's different. There's a difference, I think, with like cinema releases, because you know you've got people when it's coming out on Blu-ray and stuff, people are going, well, when's Frozen 2 coming? But with television, people view television in a very different light, because people are looking at Disney Plus as the alternative to the Disney Channel. They're not looking, going, well, I'm going to get the Disney Channel to watch Zombies 2. It's like, no, I'll wait. I want it now. I'm paying for it. I haven't got cable TV. Frozen 2 is different. And like, you know, they'll say like, this series is coming to the Disney Channel on this date. And then you ask them about the different division, nothing to do with us. It's like, you really have got to start they've got to start treating the Disney Plus network like, you know, not that I understand if it's going to be a month later, but they need to start being clearer, because it feels like, well, that's their division. That's nothing to do with you. Get it after we finish with it. And it's like, yeah, but customers aren't understanding this, and your communication, cord cutting, and this app is your future stream. You know, people don't have the Disney Channel because they've got Disney Plus, and you kind of, it's like, oh, it was the biggest show on the Disney Channel. Yeah, it was, but it would have been even bigger had it been on Disney Plus at the same time. And they really have got to start narrowing down, because I do it all the, you know, we'll do up an article, oh, this show's coming to Disney Channel. I don't know when it's coming to Disney Plus, but it will be there eventually. Well, people want more information. I just see so much of that, of this, the blend between the Disney Channel and National Geographic and Disney Plus needs to be a much, much tighter. Can't carry on with this like weird, like Hulu gives it to you the day after. Will Disney Plus have to start looking at something like this rather than the way they're doing it right now? Because it's causing a lot of feedback to it, and I'm sure they're seeing it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said this before on the podcast, a lot of people are willing to give some leeway to companies that communicate. You know, they may not like it. They may say, okay, Zombies 2, all right, it's going to be on Disney Channel, and it'll be on Disney Plus in April. I'm making up that date. Don't take that. But if Disney came out and said, well, it'll be in April, or maybe it'll be in summer, even just like a broad thing, most people are like, okay, I don't like it, but at least I know when to expect it. Now you're just like, it could drop tomorrow, or it could drop next year, or it might not come at all.
Yeah.
We don't know. You know, get the lottery going here. And
it's kind of been that thing of like, we're trying to work out patterns so we can work out what's going on with all of this stuff, because Disney aren't saying things of like, you know, I mean, that's a standard thing of like, you know, I'll put up an article like, when is Mulan coming to Disney Plus? Well, I'm guessing it's going to be taking place between here and here, because this is the data that we've had so far. Disney are not going to tell us until like the week before it, if we're lucky. So people are out, you know, the minute a movie comes out, and I can understand like when it's at the theater and all the rest of it, but the Disney Channel is a very like different line of going, you know, I think they've got I know they're trying to keep the Disney, the subscribers that they've got and the companies that are going, but this isn't going to work much longer, because there's the numbers the streaming side is coming on, because people are looking at Disney Plus as, I don't need cable because I've got all of this, and they're going to have to work on that. And I think they need to get this right. And maybe the Disney Channel have to be, you know, if they are separate, of just being like, it will come to Disney Plus. Because Descendants 3 was like 6 months later. And then something like we had The Runaways like a month after it was on Hulu. You know, we don't know really how this is all working. And we're going to continue to see this probably over the year, where we'll start seeing how this, you know, we've got a new Disney Channel movie coming up in the summer, like Up Down Magic or something. It's like they will say it's on the Disney Now app and the Disney Channel app. And it's like, yeah, but you've got to stop treating this like a different platform like they are at the minute. It's like you need to be including this either in it at launch at the same time, or be very open, or be available 24 hours later or a month later. But the Disney Channel are probably like, well, it's not our stuff. We're not advertising them. Like, yeah, they've got to streamline their, you know, when you're talking about Disney Plus could have 50 million subscribers by the end of the year. That's a big chunk of people that need that information.
Yeah, and there's certainly some internal rivalry going on here. It's never fun to be on the team that's kind of getting replaced by a newer product. And yes, it will take years before Disney Plus truly supplants the Disney Channel, but everybody knows it's coming. And it's not fun to continue working there when you know that at some point it's going to turn into the axe. But they really need to work together, because you mentioned the Descendants 3 and such like that, but there's also the Owl House, the television show. And you've got to imagine that people watching on Disney Channel and Disney Plus are kind of a different group of people.
Yeah.
But even where there is overlap, it might be along the lines of, "Ooh, I really like Owl House, but I missed the episode this week. I'll go check it out on Disney Plus, and then I'll continue watching it on Disney Channel."
I think I think the trouble is at the minute they've probably got to see the data, and this whole thing of like how fast cord cutting is building up and how much better it's getting, of looking at it and going, oh yeah, we've got a big chunk of people here that need access to this stuff, and they're losing out. Yeah, I do think like Disney as a whole, they've got to start looking at how they are getting this information out, because eventually, the cord cutting as growing, is getting bigger. There's more people on Disney Plus. They're gonna start looking at this numbers and going, actually, no, we've got more viewers and more people on Disney Plus than we have got on the Disney Channel. And I think as far as like the Disney Channel and the FX and all these different networks, they're all producing the content. So those people are fine. It just seems like maybe like the Disney Now app just feels like, the Disney Now app feels like something from what it was, and they're still trying to desperately push this app, and everyone's going, but I'm not subscribing to cable television just to watch the Owl House. They're not going to do it. They've already cut the cord. They've already gone there. And so therefore, I think we're just in that growing pains, which I'm just trying to work out. Because I still think Disney are looking at Disney Plus like almost like, well, it's our library content, it's our back catalogue, and it's where we send everything after we finish with our normal bits. And it's like, no, but this isn't what people are looking at with streaming services now. This is how we watch, and there's a big, it's just going to continue to grow, and they've got to get this in line. And I think also, it wouldn't have helped Disney Plus if we got them every episode the day after of all these different shows and stuff. It would make it look like there's so much more content and stretch out, the Hour House. Instead of like recently we had like the whole of the second season of the Resistance show just drop all on the same day. Well, why not? You could have dropped them out weekly as we were going along, and it would have made such. And same thing with National Geographic shows. Like the new season of The Life Below Zero, just dropping them in weekly, it would be much more interesting of making it look like Disney Plus are getting so much more content. And the only reason they're not doing it is because they're still stuck to their original system.
Right. And it'll be a while before they leave the system. But it's not even just necessarily the strict cord cutters who are looking at this. Like, I was watching The Owl House on Disney Channel. I watched the first 3 episodes. And by the end of the 3rd episode, I was just infuriated with the ads. Nothing against the show. I actually enjoyed the show, but I was like, I don't want to watch this with ads. No. So I'm now waiting for it to be released on Disney Plus before I watch it again. And there's a pretty good chance that by the time it comes out on Disney Plus, I'll have just forgotten about it.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be so bad as well, like when like a show goes on hiatus as well on the channels. I was like, maybe that's the point. Maybe drop them in as well. Maybe like, we will if shows going on hiatus in March, then we might as well just drop the first half the season that's been already available in there already. And I don't know. They got to do that. They got to fix that. Also, other things are when things are going, let people know. They'll put a little note in there saying this title will be removed on the 31st of March, and will be returning on the July the 8th, 2022, or whatever it is. Be a bit more open about it. I think they've really got to learn like that we're the new kid on the block only works for so long until people start. I mean, people are already going, well, you're already Disney, you shouldn't be doing this. But the new kid on the block system is not going to last for much longer. Especially once you got HBO Max and you've got Peacock and everything else breathing down its neck. These guys have got to start upping their game quickly.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. Disney's not stupid. They know that they need to listen to what people say. They also realize that what people say on the internet isn't necessarily what the vast majority of the people say. So it really is going to come down. You can say whatever you want. We can say whatever we want. Doesn't make a difference if they look at Disney Channel numbers and they go, well, 300 million people turned in to see Zombie 2 on Disney Channel.
It was their biggest movie they've had in ages, so it is working. But I mean, it's the same thing with online thing of people going, when's this coming? When's this coming? What's this coming? And you get to a certain point and you go, well, hold on. 10% of the people that are commenting are asking about the same thing. We need to address it. If you get the odd person go, well, this doesn't, where is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? And you're going, yeah, okay, that's completely not even ours go away kind of thing. We're not even going to respond to you. But if you get someone kind of going, the aspect ratio on Simpsons isn't right. The aspect ratio on Simpsons isn't right. There's something wrong with this episode. Why is this show missing? You kind of go, well, I know that's actually, there are some things as well that are going on with Disney Plus that you go, really? You still haven't got the episode that's in the right order? Like, this is just basic, like, I would almost say that's like you're just being neglectful of like actually doing the job properly. It's like if you're putting up season 1 of a TV series and there are 12 episodes, you check how many episodes there are and you check that there's 12 episodes. It's like weird thing, something like the episodes being out of order and stuff. It's like this should be fixed like that. Things being in the wrong order and all the rest of it. It's like these are simple, should be dealt with. And we shouldn't still be having these teething problems. The X-Men cartoon being out of order. Well, it's out of order 3 months later. It's just like, oh, as a kid's cartoon, don't worry about it. It's like, oh, we have not got the resources and stuff. It's like, yeah, but you can't do that. People are only going to accept this for so long until you start going, oh, this is and all the other companies are not doing this. Like, yeah, there is that kind of line of going, yeah, when these year deals run out and 3-year deals are out, they have to be fixed.
Right, and it's another one of those things where relying too much on the metric data, on the information, can be misleading too. Because let's take a look at the X-Men there. They may be looking at the data going, oh, well, no one's watching the X-Men, so why would we bother fixing it? Without going, well, maybe nobody's watching it because it's out of order and they want to watch it properly. But how do you judge that? How do you tell? I don't know. But I agree. The problems like that should be fixed like quickly. It doesn't either. It's an easy fix because it's just like an entry in a database, basically, or it's a very complicated fix. In which case you're like, why is a data entry point a complicated fix? How screwed up is your back end if you can't make this fix?
Yeah, I think there's certain things like proper problems that are going on with it that they've got to fix, and they probably are trying to fix at the background. But you're looking at it now, going, there's so much competition. They've got to be on it, and some of it as well is just like pure basic stuff that you're looking at it, going, look, you can't be making these mistakes. You're Disney. People expect a lot more from you. This is not Crunchyroll. This is not small little apps that start sort of like that.
Crunchyroll in so long. I don't even remember what it is.
I think it's like an anime thing. I think it got brought with like Rooster Teeth or something like that. But it's like they kind of get to this thing of like, you're not a scrappy little young star. It's like, no, you're Disney. This is Disney Plus is probably going to be the second biggest streaming service by the end of the year. It's like you gotta kind of, you can't keep using these excuses. I mean, Disney Plus literally this month will overtake Hulu already. It's like you can't keep using, and especially like with the international rollout and stuff. Like, yeah, and the international audience is going to be a lot harder on you than the American audience. Like,
yeah, it's not a commentary on the international audience. It's just hey, this has already been out for 3 to however many months. Why isn't this fixed?
Yeah. And I think it's like, things like why, this is missing and stuff because of contracts. Yeah. But the X-Men should be in order, things like that. And they're like, why is this episode missing? And if an episode is missing, maybe, I mean, there's this kind of standard joke about like, certain episodes may be missing because of, events that have taken place of like, well, maybe just put a note in there and say that rather than be upfront about it, or put it on there with a warning or something like that. Don't just take it down and, well, it didn't exist. Like,
of course, it comes all the way back to communication. We're generally very forgiving when there's communication. I mean, there's a limit. I don't want to say like communication means you can get away with anything you want.
Yeah,
no, but within reason.
But it's like, I think it's like a Simpsons episode being missing because of somebody that was in it, and they're like, well, at the top, if you watch this episode on its own, there is no connection to this at all. I don't know. It's very tricky. The thing is with now is, we're like I said, we're 3 to 6 months into Disney Plus running on different places. Like I said, the early days zone is starting to come to the end, and they've got to kind of have to deal with a lot of these issues. There's always going to be technical issues. There's always going to be stuff they have to fix. But I think that honeymoon period is starting to, they've got to get this stuff. I think they need to get all this stuff fixed before Falcon and the Winter Soldier hits in August. They've got to get a grip on it.
If they haven't fixed many of these issues by then, there's a serious problem. And I'm actually going to wrap up my end here with one other technical problem that's been bugging me. It's not a huge issue, but it's annoying. And that's the continue watching section. Continue watching should really be like, oh, you've already seen episode 5 of The Mandalorian. Well, here's episode 6, that kind of thing. But there's some weird bug in it or it might be set up this way, where it'll be like, oh, you didn't finish Togo. Do you want to finish Togo? I'm like, no, I did finish Togo. I just didn't watch all the credits.
Yeah.
Stop putting it on my continue watching. I'm looking at it right now, and it's like, you have 2 minutes left in season 1, episode 6 of the Imagineering story. Would you like to finish? I'm like, no.
I have finished it.
It's done.
It is that kind of thing. I think they did. I must have mine is the same of like, the minute that first credit comes up, I stop. Because, like you say, it just fills up with all these things of like, do you want to finish? It's like, especially with the international versions having these longer credits, it's like, if there's like less than 10% left, like, or 5% left, don't ask us if you want to continue it, because keep it in there, maybe, but move it down a bit. There's going to be a way of going, the credits don't count or something. I don't know. It's like you say, if I'm not going to sit there watching, it may be different, but it's not like Marvel movies where we all sit to the end and wait for it. Even then we speed them up. But I don't know. It's odd.
It would be different if at the end of the Togo credits, Nick Fury showed up and it's like, hey, do you want to join the Avengers? You did a great job delivering that medicine. But it goes both ways here too. It's not just the ending. Like, I started an episode of One Day at Disney. It's only 5 minutes long, but it's like, no, I don't actually want to watch this. So it got 3 seconds into the episode. And now it's sitting there like, do you want to finish this? I'm like, I didn't even start this.
Yeah, it is that kind of weird thing, isn't it? Of like, they've got to work this out. Again, it comes down to data of like just tweaking it. So so if you've got 5% left at the end, you just count it off. Because it's like, I know like with YouTube videos, you see your attention, and then the minute you start going into your end spiel, people start clicking off because they don't sit there right to the very end and go, oh, that's just how it goes. But little issues that they've got to tweak to make the experience better, and the better the experience, the more chance you've got of going on to something else. Like you say, you don't want your continue watching to be full of shows and movies that are just credits. That's all it's going to be. Is like, maybe show us the second episode and the third episode of things that we've not seen yet.
Yeah, exactly. And thankfully the Short Circuit shorts are all under one banner, because I guarantee you I would have a wall of, do you want to watch the last 3 minutes? No, I don't need to see what the credits were in South Korea. Thank you very much.
No, but nevertheless, let us know what you think of Disney Plus after all these months of it running. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Join our Facebook group. Well, over 113,000 people at the minute. Just keeps growing. I'm just massive over there. So join in the conversation. And we shall see you guys in another episode. Later.